So the next session is going to be an inspiring one. So we're going to hear the inspiring story of a female executive, somebody, she doesn't like me saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway, of somebody who has made it, because we can learn from her, I think. Okay, so we're going to hear from Carla. She's the CEO of NeatPlay. Thank you very much.
Put my timer on. Hi, everyone. I'm Carla. I have apparently made it in this industry, but I am not sitting by the sea drinking a pina colada right now. I'm here. Currently, I am CEO of a venture builder. I work with strategic partners who want to open up their B2C brands in multiple markets. So that's what I'm rocking right now. But that's not what I am here to talk about today. How did I get here is what I'm here to talk about, and also the lovely comments and stereotypes that people have told me during my career. Post it off. All right, so I've been in the industry for 15 years, 5 of the last years as an executive, as an exec. And I can tell you that the higher you climb up into the organizational chart, the more interesting the comments that people make to you get. So if I were to jump into these ones, you can see there's lots of post-its coming off. I actually got really nervous right now, so I'll just let you know, because it's kind of personal sharing, right? It's like very personal. So I'm going to share 6 things that have happened to me. And they're carefully curated ones because I try to bring out a learning from each one of them. So the first one was, during a dev talk, a manager decided to say to me, very constructively, "You're too emotional." I was like, thank you. How do you reply to that? Like, you're too emotional. Yeah, I'm an emotional person. I'm very passionate. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And apparently I was being too emotional. The fact that I was being too emotional at that specific time had to do with the fact that somebody in my family had died. And yes, I was quite upset with it. And I was bringing that to work. Because unfortunately, life is life. And when you walk into the office, you don't just drop all the personal shit at the door. Right? It comes with you. And as a manager, as a leader, as a team, you just can't be this robotic human. It doesn't work like that. All right? But I took this, like my dev talk, that's a very important part of my career progression, right? And it stressed me out massively. So I was like, oh my God, I'm too emotional. What am I going to do about So I went to my mentor and I said, I got my dev talk and I'm hitting all my numbers, but my manager said, Carla, you're too emotional. And my mentor said, well, she said to me, well, so what? And I was like, huh? So what? Like, yeah, she's like, so what? She's like, you're emotional, you're human. Like, just take it on your shoulders and get on with it, right? And I never went back to that manager and said, you called me emotional and I'm not emotional. No. But that really hurt. So what do you think, I just wrap back to before I went back to my mentor, what do you think an emotional person, high-performing emotional person, did after a development talk where the manager told her, you're too emotional? What do you think I did? I overthought it, definitely. I do that a lot, all the time. No, I went into the toilet and had a little cry.
Drop down performance?
No, I didn't drop down performance because that's just not in my DNA. I wouldn't do that. But I went into the bathroom, had a bit of a cry. I'm too emotional. Yeah. Wiped tears off, made sure I didn't look like Carla the panda bear, and got on with it, right? Too emotional. Here I am, CEOing, too emotional. All right, well, next one was an interview that had gone very well. And often, when you're a CEO, you end up in another layer of interviews with founders and UBOs. And these guys don't typically, and these were guys, it was a guy in this case, they don't really have the curated knowledge of questions you can and cannot ask in an interview. Yes, I see the nodding. So you're not thinking about getting pregnant, are you? Apparently I'm not, but hey, that's a little bit inappropriate. And I remember dwelling on that, and my husband actually reminded me of this one because I'd totally forgotten about it. But it happens, right? People do ask you questions about your life. Am I going to boo-hoo about it? No. All right. Am I thinking about getting pregnant? None of your bloody business. Onwards. All right, the big drum roll, the Betsson case. Thanks for inviting me here. Actually, it's pro Betsson. That's why they invited me here. I was the MD of Betsson.com, and this was the start of my, let's call it director and C level trajectory. And I was so happy. MD of Betsson. Yes. I won't say the F word before it, but that's what I would normally say if I was on stage. And we went out to party, as you do when you get a great job opportunity. And this lovely, lovely gent who did not work at Betsson said to me, "What? MD of Betsson, you? How in God's name would a Swedish listed company ever trust a Maltese female as their MD of their flagship brand?" Oh, I sucker punched him. No, I didn't. I was really upset about that one. What did I do? I said, "Well, I am." No. The MD of Betsson's that tall, bald guy. You might know him as Jesper Svensson, by the way, if you're just wondering who that tall, bald guy is. Can I say that he's bald? Okay, good. So, what do you do in that situation? Like, I was really upset at that time, but like I had a couple of drinks and I wasn't going to be reactive. I mean, what can you do? Go to work, deliver a couple more all-time highs, rock on. I think that's more proof than anything. I mean, the guy did ask me out on a date 5 months later, but I said no. Did you know that? I don't think you knew that, eh? Okay, well, relationship development after this. All right, so next one. We're at number 4, by the way. Number 4 was a lovely friend of mine who worked in the same company as me came up to me at random, we're having a chat, and she said, "Carla, you're so intimidating." I'm like, "You're so intimidating?" And we continued to talk about, like, "I find you so intimidating." And afterwards I was just like, why did she say I'm so intimidating? That's not a compliment. Is it? So I went on to Google and I Googled, is intimidating positive or negative? Because Google knows everything, right? Like now we ask ChatGPT. So it was you can kind of get the scale of when and if when that happened. All right, so I was just like, no, that's not a compliment. So I went up to her a few weeks. I just stirred on it a little bit, I went up to her and I was like, "Can I ask you why you called me intimidating? Because that's not really a positive thing. I asked Google, She said, "Of course you did." And she said to me, no, like, I just find you, like, super inspirational. I'm like, but intimidation and inspirational, 2 different words. Like, that's a very different perspective. Like, no, but, like, I admire you and I love what you're doing in your role and, like, I aspire. And I was like, all right, well, okay, fine. But I think the takeaway here is that I had the guts to go and ask her about it. And I think that a lot of the times, like, people pass comments that sometimes we internalize and we keep on thinking and overthinking, as somebody said before, dwelling, trying to justify to ourselves what that might mean, where the opportunity sits right in front of us to say, you know what do you mean by saying that? Is there something, because that could be an opportunity for me to take away and develop as well, right? So why not ask the question? I don't think anybody is going to deliver something to you and expect, not to answer to it. Like, there's an opportunity for a conversation to be had, all right? So I think that with that one, I think there is a bit of a takeaway other than just onwards, all right? The opportunity to speak up to people. And I think, if I dwell a little bit more on this point, I think that there's always an opportunity to take a minute and think of the person's perspective, where they're coming from when they're saying that. We do not live and exist in silos. All right? Everybody has a position, everybody has a history, everybody has, a perspective, a situational perspective that they're coming to when they say something. All right? Or when they're talking, or even when they're just existing. So to remain open-minded to the person who's coming at you with a comment and their perspective, I think is very, very important. I think a lot of the time we as humans, in general, we react as a first instinct. Rather than, what would that person actually mean? What could be fueling that comment, right? Maybe looking at it from their perspective and understanding, actually, you know what? That person knows that person and that happened to them and blah, blah, blah. All right, well, maybe that's coming from a different direction that maybe has nothing to do with me at all, right? But putting your feet into that person's shoes for 2 minutes will allow you to push beyond push towards the actual intent, all right? The actual intent of a comment. Number 5. I'm reading it. Number 5. Okay, it's a hard one for me. And I'm going to give a background story. So I was working in a company and had me for quite some time, was in a leadership position. I was the only female in the leadership position, and I was publicly attacked on Slack by a male partner in the organization for what I understood to be absolutely no reason. It was very targeted, very fueled, and very mean. It was also very disrespectful. And my manager, who was also part of that forum, the Slack forum, saw that comment and pinged me after 3 hours and said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay. Don't worry about it. I will call you next week. Don't worry about it. I will call you next week. All right. Don't worry about it. Public accusation forum. Okay. When I did get on the call, which was 5 days later, by the way, my manager said to me, well, you know what I think the problem is? I don't think that our partners can handle strong Caucasian women. What the hell am I doing here? Hello, what did you employ me for if you didn't want a strong Caucasian woman? But at the same time, back me up. Don't come to me and give me the, don't worry about it. Oh, it'll be okay. And not face the actual situation that's happening in public. Because there's a Slack forum of 26 other people that have experienced that comment who are now looking and thinking, wow, I can't say anything. I can't speak up. I can't have an opinion. And this is the first time I would say in my career that I did the following. Thank you very much, I resign. Thank you very much, I resign. And I will say that this was also after several other toxic cultural scenarios within this organization that were absolutely unacceptable. And I heard in the panel before, somebody was talking a little bit about, that situation where, sometimes you want to have a plan B. I did not have a plan B. But I can tell you that it didn't matter. Because when you're in such a situation and you are too emotional or just human, there are certain things that you have to say to yourself, I accept and I don't accept. And this was just one that I did not accept. Oh well, rip that Band-Aid off. All right, so I have now moving away from the few comments that I have heard as a female, and I'm going to talk a little bit about just general skills and qualities that I believe have gotten me here, okay? And that's my 15-minute timer. Ding, I am done. 5 more minutes. Good. All right, so what are the key skills and the key qualities that get you to the C-suite or any managerial position? Passion! Yes! Being able and wanting to drive, to do, to deliver. Just loving what you do. A few years ago, 8, 9 years ago, I stood on a stage and I said, you know, I'm one of those type of people who, you know, my work and my life balance are pretty much the same thing because I love what I do so much that it is my life. And somebody came up to me and said, you're going to regret saying that. Yeah, probably. I mean, like, there is a thing called work-life balance, and I'm slowly learning about that still. But I think that, like, if you are passionate to what you do and you enjoy it, you go to work and you jump on your desk and you're like, yay, emails! Then, you know, it makes you holistically a better human, to work with, one to manage other people, and one to be around, right? It also makes you happier as a human, I guess. The second thing I would say is ask questions. I have like a little slogan, I don't know if it's on my Facebook or Instagram, it's like, inquisitive by nature. My mum got so fed up of me asking questions when I was young that she bought me an encyclopedia. She went out, she bought me, like, that's how old I am, by the way. She went out, she bought me an encyclopedia set, A, B, C, D, Z, and said, here, child. She also bought me a book called 100 Answers to Every Child's Questions. Ask questions. You're never too long in the industry, you've never made it enough to not ask questions and to remain curious. Like today, I've asked a question if I could talk about Jesper being bald. So now I've learnt that I can, right? I mean, asking questions also enables you to steer and navigate yourself into different aspects of your career and different opportunities in your career. B2B, B2C, game side, affiliate side. Open those doors. Always ask those questions. And this leads to experience. Sometimes the executive opportunities, the head of, the director opportunities are not... I actually missed one of my 6 points. I'll come back to it. So experience is an opportunity to lead you into those opportunities that you might not even know today, right? So by me, when I was a consultant, it opened my perspective on areas of the industry that I'd not tried before. I'd never even known, like I'd run B2C, I'd been like running brands, I knew about markets, I knew about the day-to-day operations of a B2C operation, but I'd never understood what it meant to sit on the actual game development side. Oh my God, so interesting, right? And to be grateful to those people that enable that. I mean, like, wow, like the opportunity to just sit there with somebody who normally in a B2C world I would never have had the opportunity to sit in. So being in larger organizations also exposes you to the ability to understand what's not in front of your nose every day to day. I love to explore outside of our industry. I took a 1.5-year hiatus where I went down the blockchain and Bitcoin, you know, rabbit hole, right? And I went down there because I wanted to understand exactly a new industry, how crypto enables as a technology, crypto as a payment methodology can enable different things, how blockchain can enable things from a process perspective. I'm still here, I'm back in gaming, but I took time to learn because I bring that in my backpack, you know. When I come to my executive seat, Because when you're in a leadership executive role, they're not looking necessarily for a specific specialization. They're looking for a holistic view, a holistic opportunity, and the strategic mindset that you're going to have taken from these different hats of people that you've come across in your career. All right, respect. Respect people around you. Lots of people can say nasty things to you, and you have to, you can be forward-fronting, and I'll bring that to the... Actually, now I will tell you about the sixth one. The sixth one has a lot to do with the respect point, because it also has to tie in with my next point, which is self-respect. So I am at a situation in my career where sometimes I get asked to be on boards. That's 5 minutes, and I will be probably 2 more minutes. So... and one of my friends, because I consider this person a friend, came to me and said, "Carla, we need a woman on our board." I was like, "You need a woman or you need somebody?" And this is how I replied. I said, "Do you need a woman or do you need an experienced female executive with multiple market experience on B2C and affiliation? Or do you need a female?" So, because if you need a female, thank you very much. He was so offended that I spoke to him that way. He doesn't even speak to me today. I'm not crying about it. That one I won't cry about, but anyway. All right, so that comes down to the respect towards others and picking the moments when to say things, right? Picking the moments when to speak up. And I would have to say that I am really bad at this. There are many moments where I've held my tongue and I should have spoken. And I'm slowly coaching myself to bring myself into more courage to say what I really feel. Because sometimes when you're in executive world, the people in front of you are pretty serious, notorious people in this industry, and you don't want to burn your bridge, right? I'm thinking, shit, that person could be the next person to give me my next step in the career. Can I say what I want to say? The right people will respect you for when you speak up and say what you got to say. And that's something that I'm slowly learning. The right people will accept it. When you say to them, look, this is the way I feel about it, or this I don't agree with, they will be like, you know what, actually, and it'll be like a nice, holistic conversation, right? Rather than, all right. So that's respect and self-respect. And the final thing I would have to say is it's all about honesty and transparency. Honesty and transparency are key skills, and this also comes up to that point of being able to speak up. Right? Being able to bring forth those ideas and being able to just handle yourself in a professional manner. So that's the majority of my experiences that I wanted to share today. And I hope that at least, if not, I'm sure that all of you have had your own experiences, especially the females and even the males in the room. But I want to thank you for listening very much. And I wish everybody, the C-suite level chairs and job opportunities that you all definitely deserve if you're passionate and motivated enough to go for it. Thank you very much.
I knew that this was going to be good, but it was even better than I expected. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.